and at the same time these major, economic endeavors like huge companies jumping into the scene, majors, for example. I was saying earlier, I interviewed metal entrepreneurs, so to say, and tried to figure out how they could survive as entrepreneurs in Berlin and in the scene of heavy metal. And it's of course it's pretty tough, and it's basically a huge struggle. Maybe I can enhance on that during the Q&A to not waste too much time on that right now. Quantification, I have an example of that a little later. Local and supra-local or international scene formation, that's due to Berlin being a magnet for the international scene. It's actually often very hard to distinguish the international fans from the local fans when you go to a show, because we have a lot of expats in Berlin, like Americans living in Berlin, Australians living in Berlin. So there needs to be, the next step I want to do is like analyzing actually by interviewing the participants, where they're from. Are they located in Berlin? Are they just for a short period of time studying, for example, in Berlin? That's a difficult aspect, but also interestingly is here that we have these international connections and networks of the local scene. So local actors are highly internationally connected. For example, also regarding to multi-generational, we have a lot of young people are trying new endeavors. For example, Vendetta Records is an underground black metal label, which is actually featuring a lot of Danish black metal bands, and is highly in contact with the Danish underground black metal scene. Just one example of that. On the left side, I have these two other points, and they are in separate color because this is what I figure out as being more specific for Berlin. The other points could be applied to every local scene to a certain degree. But these 2 points on the left side are, in my understanding so far, a little more specific for Berlin. Political diversity. I was mentioning we have in Berlin a long history of leftist subcultures, and at some point those leftist subcultures merge with metalcore, deathcore scene in Berlin and the younger generations. But we also have a very right-wing subculture in Berlin as well, historically for a long time. And we have also metalheads that are actually into that. We have Hendrik Möbus. Just recently, there started a trial against Hendrik Möbus in Berlin, the kind of famous metal Nazi, so to say, the most prominent German famous metal Nazi, probably. He had his main label in Berlin for several years. He had a mail order for NSBM in Berlin. And what I figured is, and that's something we could probably maybe discuss, what I figured is that the older generations tend to be more right-wing or open to right-wing ideas, and the younger generations are way more leftist, or at least open to those ideas. But that's maybe something we can discuss. I wonder if this is maybe a rather general development. And the surplus or situation, you could say, is also specific for Germany, for Berlin. Just in April, we had like a peak of 60 shows, just heavy metal and other subgenres of heavy metal. You could have a show almost every night. So there's a lot of going on, and that leads me to a quote that wants to show that. So one interviewer told me, a special feature of Berlin is the complete, what he called hyperacidity, so saturation, so to say. There is an oversupply, so your own event has to offer something special. This scene is not infinitely big. When I go to a stoner concert, I sometimes see the same people I see at a sludge concert. And when I go to a sludge concert, I see the same people going to a death metal concert. People do not have endless money to adequately support the scene. That is a protagonist who tries to organize underground shows, and he figured out that there's a lot of underground shows going on, and there were same people going to the same shows all the time. A little over time already. just quickly, diversity, new generations. What we can observe now is that younger generations start their own endeavors, own initiatives. For example, the Berlin Death Metal e.V., the Berlin Society, so to say, they organize the Berlin Death Fest. We have a Swamp Conspiracy, all DIY based, so they organize those underground shows very professionally, but still, not as an enterprise or anything. That is partly because they are conscious about the commodification of metal. Some of them, Swamp Conspiracy, for example, told me they started it actually because they were a little sick of all those professional agencies who book those international bands, who have actually